Ruby, and I moved to a small rural city about 6 years ago. And I moved here because I'm a mining engineer by degree, and the area where I moved to is predominantly mining, and it's a great place for the mining industry. And so I moved here, and several years later, I met my husband, an amazing man, and we got married back in 2020, and also we had our first child in 2022. And so my husband is white, I'm Black, and born in Sierra Leone, raised there, and I moved to the United States when I was 12, and my husband's an American-born white man. And so with having a biracial son, you know, considering the one-drop rule, whereby my son's considered Black, but even though he's also mixed, I feel a lot of pressure as the Black parent to expose him a lot to Blackness, if that makes any sense. We live in a predominantly white area, and so he's not exposed to a lot of things that are in Black culture and all that outside of media, and he's still young. And so my goal is for my son to be exposed to as many things as possible of people who look like his mom, people who look like him, and knowing the contributions of Black Americans, of Black people around the world, of him being a Sierra Leonean American, also of Sierra Leoneans as well. So the ways that my husband and I try to do that is, one of them is just by the books. You know, he's a kid right now, he's a baby, and so with the books that we have for him, books that have to do with public figures, Black public figures, we've got some Black Panther books for him. For Christmas, I got him a Black elf, you know, for Elf on the Shelf, and also with the shows that he's exposed to. Gracie's Corner is one of our favorites in this house, and so I expose him to that, and Gracie's amazing. I think Gracie is probably his best friend. I try to limit my son's screen time, but when he watches TV, I make sure that shows like Gracie's Corner are one of the ones that are staple in our house that he gets exposed to, and some other shows as well that have predominantly Black characters. And another way too is just by exposure to other Africans or Black Americans in our community. There's a very low percentage. However, I try to make sure that we're in community with these people as well, because like I said earlier, I feel obligated as the Black parent for him to be equally exposed to that side of him. I want him to be proud of who he is. And so that's why we expose him to these books, these toys, these shows. And I will say, side note, it is really difficult to find books with respect to mixed kids. I think it's wonderful that we have, you know, with Black kids and stuff, but with mixed kids, we have a few things. So I'm really thankful for that. And I'm even thankful for my husband's side of the family, who's been very helpful in exposing him to. My mother-in-law has gotten him some awesome books that have to do with Black public figures, books that have to do with hair, so that my son can be proud of his curly hair, which is awesome. And so it's such an amazing thing for him to grow up whereby he can be exposed to things of both sides of him and be proud of them, get to know about public figures. He just doesn't hear about Black folks when it's Black History Month, but it's part of his life. Just as how having a white dad and a white mom is part of his life, he can be exposed to the amazing contributions of African Americans and Black folks around the world.